AI isn't replacing contractors, not anytime soon. It's replacing indecision in your customers. And the business that makes the decisions easier gets rewarded. If AI had to explain why someone should hire you, could it do it clearly? If the answer is no, we need to go and fix that first. Well, that's not an SEO problem, that's a clarity problem. So now's the time to get clear on your ideal client. Now's the time to get clear on your blog posts and start really drilling it down and being specific with who you're trying to target. It's time to start showing up in the way that AI needs to reference us by getting our listings, Better Business Bureau, home builder associations, other businesses, right? So now's the time.
This is Conquer Contractor Chaos, built for the contractor that's ready to run a business that works for them and creates the life they've been fighting for. Tune in to get the tools, systems, and strategies that are battle-proven to set you free. One move each episode, straight talk, things you can use today. Take your time back, be home for dinner, do the work, lead your crew, love your family, conquer the chaos.
Welcome to the Conquer Contractor Chaos Show, guys. Today we're going to be diving into a little bit of a controversial topic, and this is something that I'm personally pretty interested in right now because I'm getting to see this develop in real time. AI, and more specifically, AI search engine optimization. You'll have heard of SEO before if you've ever ran ads on Google, or you've done some sponsored stuff that you paid for to get higher in the ranking. You might have even listened to one of our episodes where we talk about organic search and how to optimize your Google page. To put that in kind of common terms, we're talking about how you show up when somebody searches for the service that you provide in their area. And things are changing. In fact, they've been changing for a while. And leads have been getting passed off in the background to somebody else, one of your competitors. You just haven't noticed it yet. And that's because we're in this cool transition period. This is the time where we really want to focus on catching up on some of these AI advancements and making changes so that when the consumer shift in how we buy services moves, which is already moving right now, we're already there, we're already showing up. If you've Googled anything lately, you'll likely have seen the very first result that pops up is an AI summary. That's a new feature that's coming from Google and Google Gemini with the help of other AI platforms. This is going to become your demise when it comes to search engine optimization, or it could be a major bonus or a major player in how people find your business online. So we're going to want to pay attention, and more importantly, you're going to want to act now on the stuff that we talk about in this podcast episode. Outside of Google, right? Like, because everybody uses Google. Everybody uses Google as their main predominant search term unless you're like 80 or 90 years old and you're, for some reason, still using Bing on this, because it came with your laptop or your computer. But more tech-savvy people are actually switching and going straight to ChatGPT. They're going straight to their chosen AI model that they use and they pay a subscription for to get answers on who to use for their contracting businesses. And it makes total sense. Why would I go to Google and then have to scroll through a bunch of results and then kind of look through the reviews and do all my own research before I finally land on someone that I want to call or email or get in contact with? Even once we've been through the Google phase, then we're having to go on their websites and vet them from there more. But this new AI model that's coming out, this AI summary, or this, by using ChatGPT specifically, why don't I get it to do the work for me? And so those tech-savvy people, they're actually having that ChatGPT result, do the research and giving them fewer results with deeper research and justifying why it chose those three. And a lot of people are just going with it. They trust ChatGPT's results, so they just go with it and say, well, what's the point of me doing any further research? ChatGPT's already done the legwork. I've been doing a little bit of research in this shift over the last couple of years, keeping an eye on the advancements in AI and what it means for contractors. And to be honest with you, this is a completely new world for me too. When I was running my business, everything was done manually. There was no SOP writers that did it for you. Everything had to be written from your brain. There was no AI. There was no AI SEO summaries. YouTube wasn't as prevalent. Blog posts didn't mean the same thing as it does now. So this is new. This is really exciting. This is very interesting for me. And I want to be at the kind of forefront on behalf of you guys when it comes to how to optimize this from a business perspective. I'm not going to get into details on how to do automations or anything like that. We have a whole host of people we can refer you to look into that. However, what I do want to do is I want to keep you in the loop when it comes to artificial intelligence and what that's going to mean for your business, your team, your people, your profits, your customers, everything on the business side. So what I want to cover in this episode is going to unpack that shift, currently what's happening, give you some practical steps for you to at least get your foot in the door when it comes to dominating your local search rankings with these new tools and considerations. Let's talk about the shift. So the shift in SEO results, it's not brand new. This isn't something that just happened yesterday. This has been going on for 4 or 5 years. When guys at Google or Bing or, at Microsoft caught on that there were companies developing these AI models, they were very early adopters. We've not even seen this. We're not even at the start of what's going to be possible with these big models with their AI systems. That summary AI box that I mentioned, sitting at the top of the Google page, my concern personally is that, with that summary, it's showing up on that page. As soon as somebody Googles services in your area or they go into ChatGPT, that's popping up first. It's coming up before the map. The map was massively important to being selected as the chosen contractor 2025. It's showing up before the websites or the listings, the actual rankings, and it's showing up before anybody has to scroll too far down. And if you've done any of our other trainings where we talk about blog posts, the map, frequently asked questions, YouTube results, stuff like that, we're getting a new contender in this list that we want to be paying attention to. It's not a feature, it's a warning, and it's popping up immediately when your client searches. That box, again, is going to become your demise if, you do not pay attention. But it's going to become the default way that people decide who to hire, and we need to act on that now. So that Google map was ranking number 1. That's still important. You still need to stay up there. Like I said, we're still in this transition. Everything that you're doing to stay at the top of your Google ranking right now, your optimization of your Google page, your map results, your Google reviews that you're getting, that's still important. I don't think that's ever going to go away because AI is going to pull from that. However, we need to try and get ourselves showing up in that AI summary because that's what it's going to do. It's going to pick up the people who show up the most, the people that are the most visible. The way our customers see it, they're not really scrolling anymore, right? They don't want to scroll. They don't want to compare websites. They're not reading your blog posts, so to speak. They're trusting the information that comes from that summary or from their ChatGPT result. So if I'm a customer and I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm it's 9:55 at night and I want to quickly check something before I go to bed to see if I can try and find a contractor, I'm going to go to Google or I'm going to go to ChatGPT. That's typically my default search now. And I'm going to say, who in my area should I use for a kitchen renovation? Who's the best cabinet maker near me? Who does affordable custom cabinetry, right? Like that's the type of question I'm still asking as a human. Who, what, how, where, when, and they trust the answer that it's spitting out. Not because the AI is smarter. There's still a lot of skeptical people who still don't believe 100% in AI's answers, but that will come to a slow, gradual end as AI gets better and better. Just to give you a little bit of context here, what's happening in the AI world is AI is just regurgitating human answers that have been posted on the internet. That's its only reference point. But over time, AI is going to learn, wait, that doesn't make sense. Or, hey, that's, I'm hearing that a lot, but here's another method that we're seeing a lot better results from. AI is going through its own, or ChatGPT or your search platform is really going through its own learning phase right now on what is the right information to post when. And the thing is humans still have a major input in how that shows up in AI. So we want to try and capture that. I don't want to say manipulate, but manipulate it so that we're the top ranking choice. And we're going to go into that and show you how to do that today. If you've ever watched a YouTube video that, like let's say that you wanted to learn a new skill or get into a new sport or get into a new hobby, but before you go out and buy all the gear and buy all the materials, you go to YouTube to get an idea of what you need, what tools are the right ones. What we're doing there is we're going to these places to say, how can I make sure at a minimum basic level that I don't screw this up by following how somebody else has done this before in the past? It's going to come into that competency versus commitment conversation where we say there's only 2 ways to gain competency. You either learn from others or you learn from yourself and your own mistakes. And that's what people are doing here in this case. So even though people are skeptical, they still want to get the ChatGPT to give them that idea the same way as we would watch a YouTube video and say, well, let me get somebody else's advice on what gear to buy before I go out and spend all that money myself. So it's better to have an idea before you dive 100% in. The good news is because we know how people think, we're in an ideal position to capture those AI search terms and prepare ourselves to be visible in this new world before our competitors do. This is like a do or die situation, right? Similar to, the early adopters who flourished when Google listings or when Google launched, and that became the way that people started searching for things. And those people who ignored the hype about Google, or even like social media, the ones that ignored social media and went, I don't need a Facebook page. I've got a Rolodex and a contacts list on my phone. I don't need Facebook. I don't need Instagram. I don't need, Google when I've got Yelp. We're in that same transition right now. So here's why AI recommendations are worth more than Google traffic. Not all website visitors are equal in a sense. Someone clicking a Google link is still early in the process, right? They're curious, they're comparing, they're skeptical, but someone coming from an AI recommendation is different, right? That person already believes that you are competent because AI has told them so. You're already relevant to their project because Google or ChatGPT has told them so. You are worth considering for the project because AI has already told them so. They didn't just find you by accident. They were sent to you from ChatGPT, the middleman, right? The digital middleman, our techno overlord, so to speak. And some of the studies that are coming out from places like Google and ChatGPT, they're actually converting, right? So your chance of closing is multiple times higher. I think it was like four times or 4.5 times higher when someone is recommended from an AI search platform rather than just trying to do their own research, right? Here's the thing, they're already sold when they get to your door. But AI collapses the buyer journey when it hands it off to you, right? It's going to make that research phase shorter, right? The research, the comparison, who should I trust phase, right? And a lot of that happens before they ever call you, which is great, right? When we talk about sales, when we talk about budget, need, timeline, and trust, that trust part is 50% on the way there before they even pick up the phone and call you. That means it's easier for you to build more trust. Couple that with things like some social media posts, some YouTube content, some blog posts, the stuff that we're going to go through in this podcast episode. That's going to build the trust to a point where the trust is ticked off the box. They already know you're the right guy with the right tools, the right skill set to do the job. It's just going to be a case of budget, need, and timeline now. So if that's getting done in advance, if that's getting done before you even get to the door, you have a really high chance of closing. The trust part is the part that closes a job. That's what gets your conversion up. So by the time they reach out, they're not asking, are you good? They're asking, are you available? Right? Or they're asking, how much is it? And that's a very different conversation. Even with my own business, we trained our sales guys the same way. We said, when we get to the actual estimate, when we show up at the door and go measure up the job, we're not going there to pitch the customer. The customer's already sold on us. They're just finding out how much, like, what's the dollar amount that it's going to be and when can we schedule you in? We were aiming for a one-shot close, straight to the job site, straight measure up, pitch on site, estimate presented, close it on site, because the trust was already built up in our sales process and our marketing process long before we even got to the door. If you're in our school group, highly recommend that you jump into the sales module where we take you through our 7-step sales process that leads to a higher conversion on the job site. So they're asking, when are you available? From traditional, and this is conversion aside, but how AI SEO is different than traditional SEO, it's not like it's not a new version of keyword SEO. It doesn't work by kind of like stuffing phrases together and writing long blog posts that kind of mimic things and repeating, kind of names and stuff like that. It thinks like a person. So it's looking at your business and tries to answer one question. Who is this company actually for? Who do we service? Who do they service? And do they fit my client, right? Being the person who's searching, does this company fit what they're looking for? So you don't need perfect keywords like you did with traditional SEO. You don't need long form content. You don't need to sound corporate. You need to sound clear. Here's exactly who we serve. Here's exactly how we do it. This is exactly our ideal customer that we want to work with. AI understands context and intent and conversation. If a homeowner is asking who is the best cabinet maker for a small kitchen remodel, it's not looking for who used the phrase small kitchen remodel the most. It's looking for businesses that actually serve the need of that customer, right? Like that, who's the best cabinet maker for a small kitchen remodel? They're looking for businesses that that others talk about positively, right? Still referencing your reviews, it's still referencing testimonials, your your kind of peer-reviewed status, so to speak, and they're looking for businesses that feel like a safe recommendation. Again, Google, even before AI, even before the AI summary, it never wanted to give its customer a bad recommendation. That doesn't do anything for Google, right? If anything, it helps Google to give good recommendations because it keeps people coming back to Google as a reliable source. So it wants to make sure that you're a safe recommendation. This is why it's worth knowing who your ideal customer is. And this matters more than ever with AI. Again, referencing back to the school course, if you've never been in there before, go jump in and take a look at our Knowing Your Ideal Customer. That's actually part of our free course, which is linked in the show notes of this page. But knowing who your ideal customer is, down to the granular, is going to serve you leaps and bounds when it comes to this AI search engine optimization. It's asking about things like location. It's researching the searcher's past searches to get context about who that searcher is, what they like, what they're into, how they speak, how they talk, what their preferences are. And it's using that context from their conversations in the past to say, okay, does this person speak the same way my person speaks? Does this person do the same thing that my searcher is looking for? So when someone is asking for that recommendation, it's not looking for the best contractor, it's looking for the best contractor to that person or for that person. And here's a case in point. If you go into Google and you search business coach North America, you'll get a whole bunch of results, right? And that's fine. Yeah, I'm a business coach in theory, right? That's the technical term for what I do. But I'm the best business coach for contractors, or one of the best business coaches for contractors. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing my keyword search, especially when it comes to AI, I want to specifically mention I only work with contractors. And I can go even more specific, more niche. I only work with GCs and cabinet makers. It's only two, real big. That's my big niche that I work with. So this means that your messaging really needs to make it obvious as who you do your best work for. Not everyone, specific people, specific projects, specific situations, or specific triggers, as we like to call them. Here's an example. I only want to work with high-end residential homes where an interior designer is involved. I only want to work on full kitchen remodels and closets as a secondary product. I do not want to touch vanities, and I do not want to do finish and trim work. My ideal client has just purchased their home and they are personalizing, or they are building a home from scratch, new construction, right? That's very specific. If we wanted to even go further than that, we could give an age range. What's their family status? Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? What kind of jobs do they have? Where do they shop, right? Where do they go get their groceries from? How do they make their decisions? Are they using their phone or are they using their laptop to hire contractors? Again, I can drill this down as deep as I need to go. There's a whole workbook for it in the school course. You should go and fill that out. It'll tell you exactly line by line considerations. The clearer you are about who your ideal client is, especially in things like your website, your blog posts, your Google My Business listing, the more you fill that out and complete it, the better the result AI is going to give to its searcher. So this is where vague websites are really going to start to get filtered out, right? If you're kind of everything to everyone in your website messaging, you're going to start to get filtered out because you're not talking to a particular audience. AI doesn't know where to place you if you're not specific in this situation. So here's number one is maybe go to your website, your Google listing, your Instagram profile, your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn business listing, your Facebook business listing, and get clear on who your niche is. Really drill it down. That will help AI put you in front of more people that are going to be more likely to be your ideal client, and they're going to be more likely to convert on the job site. So go and do that first. Do a deep dive of your current existing assets online and change your messaging to reflect your core customer, your ideal customer. And keep in mind, guys, the triple P matrix, right? It's the person, so the client, the situation, the trigger. It's the product, an ideal product. Maybe pick 3 to 5 products that you do extremely well for that high-end client or that ideal client. And you need to make sure that you've got your product margins figured out. So how much money am I actually going to make from those products? So conversational content, right? Let's talk a little bit how to craft your content. Another big shift that's happening right now is AI is preferring content that sounds human rather than written by AI itself. It can tell when it's been written by an AI. So, and we're no different, right? Like a lot of us have the ability where we can look at a piece of content that's being posted and know immediately that it was written by AI, which gives us a little bit of a bad taste in our mouth because we know that person might not be the 100% contributor of all of the content in there. It's just using AI to create it. This is a big kind of confrontational battle that I go through every single day with making content like this in the podcast, posting stuff on our school group, and really nailing the balance between me being the main contributor of the content and then having AI clean it up and formulate it in a way where it makes sense, not letting it write content for me, right? It's really important that my ideas are my ideas because that's what gets us results with our clients, but at the same time, utilizing AI where I can be efficient with my time. So when it comes to the conversational content, it's always going to win because it sounds human, doesn't have to be overly polished, doesn't have to be overly corporate, doesn't and shouldn't be overly salesy. It should be clear, direct, and conversational as if you were talking to a customer. Ironically, this content isn't even meant for people to read line by line. It's meant for AI to understand and reuse later in their search terms. So there's a little bit of learning to go on how to write content in a way where it can read to a human, but it's supposed to be getting picked up by AI and then translated and passed over to their human counterpart. That's why short, simple explanations are always going to outperform long, fluffy pages. If you wouldn't say it out loud to a customer, AI probably won't repeat it, is a really good rule of thumb. So when you're writing your content out, try and make it relevant to your niche, but also write it in your own language or have your AI or your ChatGPT model learn the way that you speak. Pretty simple way to do that is by downloading a transcript of a meeting that you recorded, or potentially if you did an SOP training video, download the transcript, feed it into ChatGPT. It's going to tell it exactly how to speak like you. So make sure that you're keeping things human. I'm going to pause here for a second because one of our past episodes that we did was all about how sales is still a human to human department in your business. Yes, you can automate a lot of things. However, in this rise of AI, people still want to feel connected to a human. They still want to have that camaraderie and that relationship and that trust because it takes the fun out of it if everybody just uses AI for everything, right? So don't over automate your sales process when you're dealing with humans. Try and get your AI to work for you to present who you are as a human being and that you run a human business. And then when you show up to go do the quote, remember, trust, rapport building, customer experience is really going to be a big topic for you to be able to close more jobs. So when you're writing your content, make sure that you're not overly relying on AI. It doesn't sound too fluffy. It's mostly human driven. Let's talk about where AI fits in the sales funnel. So traditional SEO lived at the very top of the funnel, right? This was blog posts or questions where it's like, how much does a kitchen remodel cost, or what cabinets are best, and how long does a renovation take, for example. AI answers those questions instantly now without so much as pulling it from your blog post and your content these days, which is what I would have encouraged you to do before. Even up until 6 months ago, I would have said when you're writing your blog post, make it mimic the most common questions that are being asked about what you do. However, now those AI or those SEO questions are living at the bottom of the funnel, because it's not showing up as present information where I am the source, I'm not the expert, right? AI is now the expert. They've stolen those search terms and they're coming up with their own answers now. So now I need to get a bit more specific than just frequently asked questions. Questions at the bottom of the funnel look a little bit different from questions at the top of the funnel. So SEO questions like that live at the bottom now. We're going up to the top and we're redesigning. Now we're asking things like, who should I hire? Specific. Who is the best option? Specific. Who fits my situation? Specific. And I'm rewriting my blog posts on my website for AI to read, right? Remember, these aren't really designed for your clients to go in and read through a, one-page blog post about who the best contractor is. But if I want to show up in AI searches, or I want to show up in ChatGPT prompts, that's the kind of blog post that I'm going to write. And I'm going to title it as, who is the best cabinet maker in North Carolina? And I'm going to put a subtitle. Subtitle is going to be 5 reasons why ABC Cabinets is the best cabinet maker in North Carolina, right? I'm feeding it that double information to say, here's your question, here's your frequently asked, but here's why we are, right? Because AI is going to pull from that and it's going to say, oh, here's 5 reasons why they're the best. Let me check out the other 5 reasons why the next company is the best. And if you have an edge to your business, and I don't just mean high quality cabinets, I mean things like we have the best process and systems to keep ourselves on track and on time. We have the best team. We have very diligent design process. Whatever it is that separates you out and makes you unique, make sure you capture that and put that into that blog post as well. Again, what we're doing is we're manipulating how AI compares us to others. A lot of people are going to go with the easy answer when they're doing their blog post or writing their website. They're going to go, I am the best cabinet maker. I have the most years of experience, have a good reviews. Think of all the other things. I mean, to me, as a consumer, being good at what you do and having a business that does it, having good reviews and having a little bit of experience, that's a no-brainer. You should have that anyway. That's the bottom bar that you should be shooting for. But who's the one who has the best customer experience? Who's the one that has the most diligent systems for producing, where there's very little miscuts or there's very little mistakes, or we have a track record of always beating our delivery times? That's the stuff that really matters now, because the bar is just doing a good job. That's the bar. You shouldn't even be online. You shouldn't even be anywhere. You shouldn't even have your own business if you're not doing good work for your customers. And if you don't do good work for your customers, maybe go try and become a better tradesperson. Try and work a little bit harder at developing your craft. So, top of funnel, bottom of funnel, who should I hire? Who is the best option? Who fits my situation? That's the real opportunity here. You're not trying to educate. You're trying to be chosen from a short list, essentially. So go write your blog post. This is the second thing I'm going to ask you to do, is go to your website, publish a couple of blog posts, one that's titled, Who Should I Hire for X Service in X Territory? 5 reasons why your company is the best, your service in your town. Right? And then write your blog post. It doesn't have to be super long, it just has to be short, maybe 5 quick bullet points. We're the fastest, we have the best customer experience, we give back to the community, we have the best systems, whatever, right? Write your blog posts out. And you should be doing, if you've got multiple territories that you serve, you should be writing posts for each of those territories. Well, they can all be the same, but let's say that I lived in, North Carolina, for example. I would say, let's say that I serviced Asheville and Raleigh. I'd be like, 1 post for Raleigh, 1 post for Asheville, 1 post for wherever, right? I picked my 4 or 5 territories and I would put all those posts. Remember, your blog is not really designed for your customer to read. It's there for AI to reference. So what I would even recommend is, if you've got blog at the top of your page, move it down to the bottom where your address and your details are, and keep it out of sight, right? Because it's really just there for AI to reference. Unless you're putting out some big hit piece blog posts that you want your designers and your customers to read, maybe move it out of sight, out of mind, until you're at a point where you're ready to do that. And I do recommend that, right? If you want to work with more interior designers or more architects or more engineers, same thing. Publish a blog post that says 5 reasons why your company is the best company for engineers, for interior designers, right? That's what people are searching for. So make sure it reflects in that blog section. Remember, this is just additional stuff for AI to reference moving forward. So you're not trying to educate, you're trying to be chosen. Just like traditional SEO, AI SEO kind of has 2 sides to it. It's got an on-site and it's got an off-site side of it. So on-site is teaching AI who you are. So you're doing this with your website. That's the most effective content right now, is what I call the best fit content. Short pages that answer very specific questions, like who is the best renovator, contractor for this type of work. They're not meant to rank for humans, they're meant to train AI. They're going to explain why you're the best choice, why you're the best fit, what makes you different, right? Keep them short, keep them specific, and most importantly, keep them honest. Let's talk about why reviews and pricing matters more than ever right now. So AI expects proof, right? If you're going to have the audacity to have a website online and you're going to show up in AI's rankings, you need to show proof that you are who you say you are and what you do and the standard that you do it to. So it's going to pull from things like reviews, testimonials, and kind of more commonly now is pricing information. And that's a hard one, because not a lot of us want to put our pricing online. And sure, why would we want to put our information online where we know that closing the customer is face-to-face? We have to have a meeting so that we can discuss your price, pitch you, close you, handle objections, move forward. So AI wants to see that pricing. But AI nowadays is looking for pricing proof, more so because your prompts that your searcher is putting into Google or they're putting into ChatGPT are a little bit more specific now. And I mean, I wouldn't hold that against our customer if they were putting in who is the best XYZ for X service, but is also the most affordable, because that's just kind of human nature, right? We don't want to overpay. So if your site is hiding pricing on your website, AI is going to treat that as a risk point, as a detractor from overall. But here's the thing. For your pricing, you don't need exact numbers. You do need kind of minimums or ranges or what affects cost, so that AI can interpret that and say, hey, here's some of the factors. It's not so black and white as here's the price for what you're looking for. Again, we're not a retail business. We're not selling products. We're not selling one-off widgets. We're not selling off one-off tools. We're not selling off one-off products. We're not clothing. We're not selling hamburgers here. Every project is different with its own price. So you don't need to have exact numbers, but what I do recommend is in those blog posts that you're writing, right? Perhaps one of those blog posts says is how much does a kitchen cabinet, or sorry, how much does a kitchen renovation cost? I would put it, here's what a $0 to $10,000 kitchen gets you. Here's what 15 to 50. Here's what 50 to, plus $1,000 will get you, and kind of keep it general, but explain the factors that do affect cost, right? Is it the material? Is it the labor? Is it specialized? Having something in there that says, hey, I'm not afraid to tell you a rough guide on my pricing. I want to be able to educate the customer. AI is going to pick up on that, and they're going to say, all right, okay, this guy's pretty transparent with his pricing, but there's a lot of factors that go into this before he can give you a straight answer. So we're going to recommend him knowing that he's got the right core values, he's got the right skill set, he's the right person. The only thing that is kind of left on the table is budget. What is this going to cost our searcher? So don't put exact numbers. I'm a big advocate for ranges. This is also going to naturally filter people out of your funnel if they were never interested in going for a high-end product anyway, which, when we look at those 4 objections, budget, need, timeline, and trust, budget is number 1. So if my expectation of a new kitchen remodel is $20,000 and I go into your website and I can see that a new kitchen is going to cost me somewhere between 50 and 100, maybe I'm going to filter myself out without you having to contact me, go through the motions of trying to sell me something or doing a design. Ultimately, it's going to lead to you not having to put together 4 hours worth of design work and quoting and drive time to go meet that client when you never had a chance at it anyway. So objection handling needs to be done as early as possible to make sure that if you're getting in the truck, you're going to land that job, right? Like I said, we're showing up just to close the job and find out when we're going to be scheduled to go there. So let the AI build the trust, give them some key insights into your pricing, but don't give the exact price away, right? Volume and consistency when it comes to reviews are also going to help here too. If you've got good high quality reviews and you're posting them up on your website, really good opportunity for AI to pull that from your website and say, this guy has multiple reviews. They're very specific reviews that mention customer service, deadlines for getting them done. If you wanted to go with affordable, so try not to let your customer just leave you a blanket 5 stars with no information. Try and get them to be exact, because every review that they put together for you is going to feed into AI's search, right? It's going to look into their search and kind of put you as a forerunner. So make sure you're focusing on your reviews. Again, if you've never seen our 11-step production process and our 9-step sales process, we actually set the customer up for a review very early in the sales process. I think it's step number 3 or 2 or 3. And then when you get to the review, you're actually asking for it in a non-awkward way where you're almost guaranteed to get it, and it's going to be a good review with good information in it. That's going to help Google and ChatGPT pull it from you. So that's like your on-site stuff, right? Like that's why it really matters to have those reviews and your pricing in there now, whereas it's never really been a thing before, but AI kind of categorizes pricing and peer reviewed status more than it ever has before. Now we want to look at offsite AI and SEO. We're going to go into other things, and we've touched on this before with things like blog posts and backlinks, but for the most part, SEO companies don't really want to talk about this. And AI doesn't much care about backlinks anymore. It cares more about mentions now. And it's pulling from more sources. Let me go back, because before this, what you would have to do is, let's say I was a cabinet maker and I wanted to enhance my SEO. I would need to go to an interior designer that I'm working with, and I'd be like, hey, listen, I'm going to post a blog post. I'm going to tag you in it. Can you tag me in the same blog post, and we'll cross-post it on our websites? If my website link is on your website, and I do that for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 interior designers, well, that's me getting backlinked into more websites. Basically, it's like peer reviewed, in the eyes of Google or in ChatGPT, where it's looking at everybody else and they're saying, well, these established profiles that are trusted, these established websites, they trust him. So we're going to boost him because you guys can't be wrong. So That's the way it was before, is you had to ask. It was very awkward. You had to ask someone, hey, can you put a backlink on your website to my website? Now it doesn't matter so much. There's other ways to go about it because AI has this whole ability to look everywhere in the world, all over the internet. So what it's doing now is it's looking for mentions, and this is just references, right? It cares about those mentions, and it's pulling information from places like Google reviews, Yelp, Facebook, Reddit, Quora, local directories, articles. Local directories would be like your Better Business, a bureau listing, your Yelp listing. And one thing that's really annoying about this whole thing, guys, and you're all going to cringe when you listen to this, but for some reason, AI really is leaning more towards Yelp reviews right now than it is Google reviews. I don't know why that is. Personally, I hate the Yelp model. I think it's not a good business. I highly recommend if you register for a page with them and they try and call you to get you to pay them for services, don't even answer the call. Just stay away. But showing up on Yelp and having a profile there and maybe a couple of reviews from your customers, if you know you're going to get a good one, is worth it for the AI to pull an additional reference point from. So maybe go into Yelp, get a couple of reviews on there. The good news is you can also reactivate clients who have left you Google reviews in the past and say, hey, can you also leave me a review on Yelp? Would really help our small business to grow. But the point is it's pulling from all these informations. And here's what I would do is I would look at my Google reviews, right? I would look at my Yelp reviews. I would go on Facebook and say, how does my Facebook listing or my Facebook business page show up? Do I mention it in my own personal Facebook page that I am the owner of this business? I'm going to go onto Reddit and I'm maybe going to post a couple of posts about why XYZ is better than XYZ product as a cabinet maker, right? Like I'm going to start to show up in those Reddit discussions to show that I am the expert. I'm going to go into places like Quora and I'm going to see what's online. And maybe I'm going to publish a couple of articles on Quora about how to DIY XYZ product or considerations if you're going to hire a cabinet maker or a renovator. Local directories. Look locally, where are you showing up online? Are you in the BNI directory, the Better Business Bureau? Are you listed under your local Toastmasters as a member? Are you part of any associations, CMA, or home builders associations? These are great places to go and just get your name listed online through them because it's further showing that you are verified, that you are trusted, and you are known by people who are long time established, right? Home Builders Association, for example, if you're listed in there, they're not going to let anyone who's, not a good contractor join their platform. So it's looking for those mentions. How often is this guy mentioned? If they are talking about you, even more so, if they want to put a blog post together and backlink you, great. That's just going to further enhance your Google ranking organically. Definitely still worth the effort to do that and build those relationships. And so here's the thing, you still need to do everything that you're already doing when it comes to your SEO, your Google search, your listing, everything that you're currently doing, you still need to be showing up and doing that stuff. Everything else that we're talking about today, this is just additional until we go through a full transition where people only rely on their AI search platforms. So we need to stop ignoring AI, right? This is why timing here is really a big opportunity for us. Is you're ignoring AI, you're saying, I don't understand it, so I'm not invested in it. And if you're not invested in it, it's just a matter of time before you get left out of the conversation with people searching online. Most websites are super unclear right now. I've seen a lot of contractor websites in my time. Some are good, some are bad. Now's the time to really craft it towards that AI model. And most of your competitors, the guys who are not focused on their own personal development and learning, they are going to be stuck in the old SEO, and that's a good thing for you. So by taking the time now to make those tweaks, to change the way that you show up online, those guys might not exist in 5 to 10 years. One of the things that we're really seeing here as well is that we're seeing about 20 years worth of technological advancement over the next 5 years. So think about 20 years ago, right? Going all the way back to the 90s. Was that 90? Yeah, the 90s. Going back to the 90s. What did technology look like then, right? We were only just getting computers. We were only just getting, mobile phones were just coming out. We're very early, right? And then from then until now, we've not changed much. Yeah, we have smartphones and yeah, we have laptops and capability. This AI is groundbreaking. It's actually building that speed a lot faster when it comes to the technological advances that we have seen in our lifetime so far. So now is the time to adopt it because it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go away. We're not in a phase. We are in the future. The future is unfolding in real time in front of us. So get on it early, get on it before your competitors do. The same way early adopters of Google business profiles dominated local markets, early adopters of AI SEO will dominate recommendations. Later, it's going to get a bit more crowded, it's going to get more expensive, and it's going to be really hard to stand out. So now's the time for us to lay the framework that we are the best and then maintain it through into the final iteration. Some final thoughts for you here, guys. AI isn't replacing contractors, not anytime soon. It's replacing indecision in your customers. And the business that makes the decisions easier gets rewarded. If AI had to explain why someone should hire you, could it do it clearly? If the answer is no, we need to go and fix that first. Now, that's not an SEO problem. That's a clarity problem. So now's the time to get clear on your ideal client. Now's the time to get clear on your blog posts and start really drilling it down and being specific with who you're trying to target. It's time to start showing up in the way that AI needs to reference us by getting our listings and local listings with BNI, well, maybe not, I say BNI, not BNI, but Better Business Bureau, home builder associations, other businesses, right? So now's the time. And if you need help with this stuff, right, I'm not going to tell you that I'm an AI powerhouse. I'm not. I'm paying attention. I'm not, 100%, versed in automations. But we have people in our network who are in our school groups who are really putting these things into practice and seeing the results from them. And if that sounds like you, if you sound like the kind of person that wants to get a leg up on your competitors, become more profitable, run a tighter business, run a more enjoyable business, then I highly recommend you start out in our free online course. It's called the Conquer Contractor Chaos School Group. It's a community, there's a classroom, there's a 6-week bootcamp where this video is going to be posted, as well as a whole host of tools to set you up so that each department in your business is dominated. I will see you on the next podcast, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. It's been a ton of fun, and I'm super excited to see where this is going to go. If you have a big breakthrough with your AI and you want to share it with the community, the school group is the way to do it. Link will be in the show notes, and I will see you guys on the next podcast episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.